Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Colorado Sports Connection. We're coming to you from Scottsdale, Arizona. We're here in Scottsdale at the Colorado Rockies Fantasy Baseball Camp, and we'll talk with former Colorado Rockies players that are now coaching these players that are from the age of 21 to age 90, bringing out that inner child in them and fulfilling their dream and finding out what it's like to be a Major League Baseball player. All that and more right here on Colorado Sports Connection. We're out here at the Colorado Rockies Fantasy Baseball Camp, and we're talking with former Rockies reliever Darren Holmes. Well, Darren, talk about the enjoyment you're getting out here, passing on your knowledge to these players that want to know what it feels like to be a Major League ball player.
Yeah, you know, it's a lot of fun. You know, I was asked to do this last year, and I really enjoyed it. You know, you get to see the passion, you know, that the fans have for the game, and they're very competitive. You know, they want to win. You know, they're not out here just to be here. They want to win, and so, you know, I asked to come back again, and hopefully they'll let me continue doing it because it's one of my highlights of my year.
What enjoyment do you get personally getting back with your old teammates?
Yeah, it's always fun to, you know, get back with guys that, you know, you played with, and guys, you know, like Spilly that you watched play, you know, whenever you were gone, maybe to another team or something. So it's a lot of fun just to kind of be back in that locker room with them guys and reminisce on old times and just have a good time, you know, just to really enjoy what you're doing.
You know, you see a lot of players out here. You see men and women out here wanting to get back that inner, you know, childhood feeling of playing baseball. And one of the things that I've noticed out here, you see the camaraderie that's building.
Yeah.
Talk about some of your moments as a player, those camaraderie moments that you had.
Yeah, you know, probably some of my strongest bonds with teammates was here in Colorado in '93 and '97. And, you know, you bond, and it's, you know, you're a family. And you know, when you're out of the game, you know, I spent 10 years out of the game and then got back into the game. And you know, you miss the competition, obviously, but what you miss most is your teammates. You know, you miss that camaraderie that you had every day. And, you know, we spend more time with our teammates than we do our own families. So you become a family, and when you leave, that doesn't change. You know, you still have them friendships. When
you get to interact with a lot of these campers, what are the type of questions that they're asking you?
You know, they'll ask, you know, something maybe about pitching or about hitting or, you know, or things like that. You know, they'll ask about your family, you know, and try to get to know you. And we kind of do the same thing. But yeah, they ask a lot of questions, you know, and it's fun to be able to answer them. They'll ask maybe, do you remember this game, or do you remember this game, you know, or maybe a game they were at that I may have been coaching or may have been playing, and they'll reminisce on stuff like that. So great memories.
You know, not all the fans have the opportunity to get out here and meet you. Will you tell the Colorado fans out there what it meant to you playing at Coors Field?
Well, I tell you, you know, I love Colorado, and you know, I've said it before. I got the opportunity to win a World Series with the New York Yankees in 1998, and I would trade that ring today for a Colorado Rocky World Series ring. I've always felt like I had a pretty long career, played with about 6 different teams, but I've always felt like I was a Rocky. You know, Rockies has been my home, and so to get back with the organization as a coach was real exciting for me.
Boy, those are great words. I mean, here you are, you have a World Series ring, and coming back to the Rockies organization. So that says something again about that Rockies organization. Yeah. And take us back a little bit during your playing days. What was that one special game for Darren Holmes?
You know what? I don't know. You know, really a special game for myself. Probably the game that stands out most in my mind was the year we won the wild card, and we went in to play San Francisco Giants. Actually, they came to us, and we had to win this game to make the wild card. And we were down 9-0 after the I think the second inning, and we came back and we won that ball game and made the wild card team. So. That's a great memory. And the other great memory is Dante Bichette hitting a walk-off home run opening night in the first game I ever played in Coors Field. That's a huge memory for me.
You know, for those ball players out there that may say, you know what, this fantasy camp, that's something I might want to do next year.
Yeah.
What would you tell those players on why they should come out here and live this experience?
You know what? You get to meet your fans. You know, you get to meet the people that follow you, and it's amazing their knowledge of your season and good and bad times, and you get to interact with them. You get to treat them like players. You know, that they come in, we treat them like players. You know, and we have kangaroo court. We fine them for doing stupid stuff, but it's just, you know, you build bonds here. You know, this team that we played today, last year I had 5 of the people on that team that we just got due playing last year, you know. So it's fun because you can sit over here on this side and you can rag them and have a good time with them, interact with them, and you just build a lot of good relationships. So, I mean, it's definitely, I've never worked fantasy camp my whole career until last year, and I hope not to miss another one.
One of the all-star players at this year's Colorado Rockies Fantasy Baseball Camp, former USA National Baseball player, Tara Jones. Now, Tara, you also have a great experience too. You were on the USA National Baseball team.
Yes.
Now let's get that straight. It was baseball, not softball.
It was baseball, yes.
And there are women out there that are playing baseball and starting at a very young age.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about that.
Oh, I'd love to. So I played for Team USA coming from a softball background, and I learned the game of baseball from these girls who had been playing baseball since they were 6. They had the opportunity and they played with the boys and they thrived, and the way they played the game was just so special, and the pool of girls that can play baseball is absolutely incredible, and I want the world to know that there's a Team USA baseball. These girls, we have pitchers who are 15 and are throwing 70s. We have girls who can play baseball at, you know, a college level, but they choose to go to softball, and just the mentality and the work ethic and everything that they've been through to play with the boys is inspiring, and it's absolutely incredible that these girls have developed skills and were able to teach me as an kind of older, I mean, I was 21, 22, but to learn from these girls who have been playing baseball. Like, we had Tamara Holmes, who played for the Silver Bullets a long time ago, and she's still playing and she's still hitting home runs. We have Malika Underwood, who has been the Sportswoman of the Year for the past 3 years. Veronica Alvarez, she came from softball, but she just picked up baseball, and they're the reason why we won a gold medal at the Pan Am Games. And all of these girls are just incredible, and the fact that they've played baseball their whole life it's fun to watch. It's fun to watch these girls play.
Tell us about that one person, or there may be more, that was and that had a strong influence on you for the game of baseball.
Well, definitely my father, Roger Harbert. I mean, he taught me how to throw. He took me to baseball games. I mean, when the Rockies started in '92, he got season tickets, and we always went. He was always teaching me the game, and you know, watch this, watch this. It was all the little things that he would teach me that I was born to play the game, but to learn that from him and just to hear him speak about it, it helped develop my skills in softball as well. So he probably was my biggest influencer. He has been my #1 fan, along with my mom, since I was 6 years old and playing t-ball. So they've done everything for me. Outside of my family, you know, I've never had an absolute favorite player because I appreciate how guys play. I mean, I remember watching Walt Weiss and how great he was with his finesse at shortstop, or, you know, watching Vinny Castilla and how good he was as a third baseman, and he could hit home runs like nobody else. Dante Bichette, Larry Walker, all those Blake Street Bombers, watching them grow up. So, and outside, I mean, I wish I could name all of my favorite players who influenced me, but I think the biggest one outside would have to be Tamara Holmes. She was my mentor. She taught me how to play, and she's turned into one of my best friends from baseball. So,
And how long you been a season ticket holder?
Since 92.
92.
Yes.
Okay, so during that
Or
time.
93.
93. So during all that time, tell us your favorite moment at Coors Field.
I wasn't there, but I was watching the game while I was studying for finals. And in 2007, when Stritty hit that walk-off home run to win the game against, I believe it was San Diego, I think that gave me chills. Just to watch him running around third base with his jersey coming undone and everyone's at the home plate screaming, and it still gives me chills to see Ryan Spilborghs hit that home run, that walk-off home run.
So when you had the opportunity to meet Spilborghs here at the Fantasy Camp, what was one of the first things you guys talked about?
You know, he's such a personable person. It just was easy to talk to him like a friend, so I can't even remember except for, hey, how's it going? I don't think I've ever told him that story because I don't want to make his head any bigger than it is.
You are a role model for a lot of up-and-coming and inspiring young girls that want to get into the game of baseball and or softball.
Yes.
What message do you have for those young ladies out there?
If you want it, you have to work for it, and there's nothing more special than working as hard as you possibly can to reach a goal and finally meeting that goal, and just never quitting through all of the obstacles, the trials and tribulations, the ups and downs. Just keep working hard, and through all the slumps and the dead arms and everything that's going to happen along the way, you just need to keep fighting for what you want, and always learning. You're never going to know the game completely, and you just have to keep learning and making yourself better, and listen to as many coaches as you can and take all the advice that you can get.
And it's been my pleasure to introduce you to Tara Jones. We're with former Colorado Rockies Ryan Spilborghs here at the Fantasy Colorado Rockies Camp. Well, Ryan, first of all, tell us about the enjoyment you get working with these players, living out their dream.
I love this. I think this is my 6th year doing it, so I've been doing it for a while. I did it twice as a player, and then now as a retired player. And I don't know, there's enjoyment seeing grown men playing baseball, even though they're not what they once were, to go out there and just watch them play baseball. And I think anytime you get to an age where you're not in the physical shape you were as a child, and you still get to come out here and enjoy it, that's what baseball is all about. It's a game. You come out here, you have fun, you get to be around a bunch of other guys. And for me, it's enjoyable because it makes me coming out to the field so much fun.
You know, talk about the players that you're coaching and the camaraderie that you see between them, not only the men, but with the women as well.
I think the unique part of this is there's so many people that come to this that are from different fields in their professional career, and there's a lot of great connections that can be made here. I think a lot of guys that come to this camp, there's reunions throughout the time, and a lot of these guys come back multiple years, so you build this relationship with everybody. And I love the fact that there's women here that are playing the game, and there's no difference. There's no difference whatsoever as far as competing, as far as being on the field, playing baseball. And that's the beauty of the game, is that it's for anybody at any age group.
You know, watching you guys, we're out here, everybody's having fun. You know, being a former player, you have those competitive juices. So talk about the competitiveness when you're coaching against one of your former teammates.
I think regardless of who we're playing and whether it's a former teammate or not, I want to win every game. And I think making sure the guys understand that we want to win, but we want to win by having fun first. And that's where the competitiveness comes. You want to play the game right, you want to play to win, but you also want to play and have fun.
And talk about how important you feel this is for the Rockies organization to go out there and reach toward their fans and give them this opportunity.
I think baseball in general does a great job of providing these type of fantasy camps for fans to get the experience of what it's like to be in a clubhouse, playing games, going in the batting cage, getting the treatment. There's a lot of things that go involved as far as a major leaguer or as far as anybody in professional sports. It's a grind. Baseball is tough. And for fans to get an experience to see what it's like, and then understand that maybe they don't realize how tough the game really is, or even know the rules sometimes, which is funny because I think as fans, you you watch the game being played and you think you know how to play it, and then you get on the field and then it's a totally different story. So I think for people to just get that experience of what life is like as a baseball player, there's no other place you can do it other than signing up for a fantasy camp.
You know, you hear the crack of the bats, people throwing the ball back and forth. When you look back, what is it that you miss about the game of baseball now that you're retired?
You know, when you think back to my career, or I think any former player thinks back to their career, they don't remember games. They don't remember batting averages or RBIs or anything like that. I think the thing you remember most are the guys that you played with, the relationships you have, and being retired now and not having that every day where you're with a group of guys grinding and competing, that part is missed. So if you ask any major leaguer that's played the game and is out of the game, all they'll say is, I miss my friends.
So Jen, tell us how you got started. Here you are, former retired Air Force, and now here you are playing baseball. How'd you get out here to Scottsdale, Arizona?
Yep, so one of my best friends comes out here every year, and he told me about it, and there was a guy, a fellow camper that's here who sponsored 2 veterans to come back and play, and I was one of the lucky veterans that got chosen to come back here and play. So,
tell us about your experience living a dream, you know, being, you know, bringing that kid, you know, outside of you. What does it feel like to be a major leaguer?
oh, it's this experience, trying, you know, walking in the same steps as the major leaguers it's been absolutely amazing. It's, you know, I grew up playing baseball and I grew up with all boys, and I always considered myself a tomboy and wanted to, you know, be like one of them. But being a girl, you know, I can't be a major leaguer, which is totally fine. But this has brought so many of these childhood dreams back, and to get out there and play on the field that these guys play on, it's just truly an awesome experience.
If you can, tell us a little bit how you can relate the 2 experiences together, the Air Force and the baseball.
So in the Air Force, you know, we're a team. These are my brothers and sisters, and we work together to get the job done. And the same thing in the baseball, you work with your brothers. You have one job and you work together as a team to get the job done. And it's you know, in baseball it's a fraternity, but within the Air Force it's the brotherhood, the sisterhood, and coming together. Everyone takes care of each other, and there's nothing better than that feeling. And I grew up as an only child and grew up with all boy cousins closely, so that's how I got that experience. But it's like, it's so fulfilled. You feel so fulfilled at the end of the day to have these new brothers and sisters by your side, and you know they'd do anything for you.
You had mentioned earlier something about how your dream is to come back.
Yes.
Talk about, you know, the experience you had and why you want to come back.
So this week has been truly amazing. Great people, making great new friendships, and we're all sharing the one thing that we love, and that's baseball. And I will, come hell or high water, I will find a way back here next year to make this a new tradition.
She never played organized baseball. Why would Pam Bruner pack her glove and bat and head to Arizona for the Colorado Rockies Fantasy Baseball Camp?
My husband, my dear husband.
And why is that?
Michael Brunner is my husband, and he was assisting here like 15 years. And every time that he came here, he's a totally different person. It's like a big child because he enjoys so much. So the last year he told me, "You want to try it?" I said, "Yes, why not?" So I was practicing for a month ago. I never played before baseball. I never touched a bat, I never touched a ball, nothing. So that's why I'm here.
So tell us a little bit too, in your own words, how everybody, the players and people from the Rockies organization, how they treated you this week.
In one word, it's amazing. Every single person of this Rockies staff is amazing. So they treat you really well. It's like a family. It's like a family for me. Even when I wasn't here for a long time, but they treat me really well.
Shannon, you've been doing this now for 2 years. Tell us your experience in participating in the Rockies Fantasy Baseball Camp.
Well, my first year, my rookie season, my father and I attended together as kind of like the ultimate fan experience. We've been season ticket holders since day one, and we just thought how cool. The competitive nature in me got kind of stoked at that first camp. I really struggled hitting because I had no baseball experience. I thought that co-ed slow pitch softball would translate better than it actually did. So after that first season, in addition to it being amazing, I really wanted to practice baseball, get better, return, and show that I could hit. So that is actually the primary reason I returned for a veteran season. Unfortunately, my dad was not with me for the second season, so I had a very different experience, both rookie versus veteran, and then attending with loved ones versus attending as an individual.
Talk about the relationships you've developed within the Rockies organizations and the staff and the former players.
It is absolutely unparalleled. I mean, you can meet people at an autograph session and they're friendly, but at this camp you see a whole different side of them. You can sit around, share stories, they become like friends. You're eating lunch with them, you might be getting a massage in the training room right next to them. It's like, you can't buy this experience at a gift shop as a fan, so this has been amazing.
And what about the camaraderie that you've built with the players from last year and this year? Talk a little bit about that.
I was really surprised after last year how many people I kept in touch with throughout the year. It wasn't just like fantasy camp and done. It was, we connected, we continuously talked, we met up to practice, we got together for various social activities. There's a whole handful of them that I've added to my lifelong friends list.
With the camp, how do you feel that they've made you, not only you feel comfortable, and the men that participated, but the women as well?
I think honestly, when you're here, you don't think about the difference between men and women. I think they treat everybody equally, and so you just feel like baseball players. They treat everybody awesome. I think the coaches do an amazing job of taking it seriously when you want them to, so you can ask them questions about what was it like as major leaguers, or what do you do? See, there's a good example of camaraderie. What do you do in a situation like this? And they'll take it seriously, but at the same time, they're having fun, they're joking around, so you feel like it's fun, but you get that serious side as well.
And for this year, talk about what's been one of your most favorite moments participating this year.
This year, the very first night, opening night, I got my very first fantasy camp hit. So I actually realized my dream or my goal this year on the first night. And it was not one of those hits that it's like, oh, I'm lucky I got on base. I drilled it off a guy who was throwing fast. And so I felt really confident about that. It was a line drive up the right field line. And I knew at that point that no matter what else happened, I met my personal goal. And so I felt relaxed and satisfied the entire time.
If someone were to come up to you and ask you, should I participate in a Rockies fantasy baseball camp? And if yes, why?
Absolutely. You should absolutely do it. This experience is full of things that you will not be able to buy in a gift shop as a fan. The interactions, the camaraderie, the personal one-on-one relationships you develop with staff and players, amazing.
Who says baseball is just for kids? Lou Dunlop, 90 years old, attended his first Colorado Rockies fantasy baseball camp at the young age of 88, and he tells us how it all got started.
Well, I'd been wanting to go for at least 10 years, 11 years. As soon as I found out that they had a fantasy camp, I have wanted to go. And it just turned out that 3 years ago it was open for me, and my wife confirmed it. She said, "Why don't you go, Lou?" I don't know what she did while I was gone, but I'm confident of her too. And I came and I wore 88 on my shirt that year. I have a promotion table at one of the Rockies games, and I try to point my effort to get them to my table. The young people especially, and I tell them, live right, exercise, and save your money for the time you're 21 and can go to the fantasy camp. So once in a lifetime experience that you're going to have.